Nicholas Berkeley. Nick Mason is an English musician and composer, best known as the drummer of Pink Floyd. He is the only constant member of the band since its formation in 1965. Despite solely writing only a few Pink Floyd songs, Mason has co-written some of Pink Floyd's most popular compositions such as Echoes and Time. Mason is the only Pink Floyd member to be featured on every one of their albums. It is estimated that as of 2010, the group have sold over 250 million records worldwide, including 74.5 million units sold in the United States. He competes in auto racing events, such as the 24 Hours of Le Mans. On November 26, 2012, Mason received an honorary Doctor of Letters from the University of Westminster at the presentation ceremony of the School of Architecture and Built Environment. Early life. The son of the documentary filmmaker Bill Mason, he was born in Birmingham but brought up in Hampstead, London, and attended Frensham Heights School, near Farnham, Surrey. He later studied at the Regent Street Polytechnic, where he teamed up with Roger Waters, Bob Close and Richard Wright in 1964 to form Pink Floyd's predecessor, Sigma 6. Musical career. Mason has been the drummer on every Pink Floyd album. The only Pink Floyd songs that are solely credited to Mason are the Grand Vizier's Garden Party Parts 1 Euro 3, and Speak to Me. The one-off song by the band titled Nick's Boogie was named after him. The only times Mason's voice has been included on Pink Floyd's albums are Corporal Clegg, the single Spoken Line in One of These Days, and spoken parts of Signs of Life, and Learning to Fly from A Momentary Lapse of Reason. He does, however, sing lead vocals on two unreleased but heavily bootlegged tracks, Scream Thy Last Scream, penned by original leader Syd Barrett, and the Merry Xmas song. In live performances of the song Sheep, he did the spoken section. Mason also appears to sing lead vocals on the bridge to Waters' first composition Take Up Thy Stethoscope and Walk. Despite legal conflicts over ownership of the name Pink Floyd, which began when Waters left the group in 1986 and lasted roughly 7 years, Waters and Nick Mason are now on good terms. Mason joined Waters on the last 2 nights of his 2002 World Tour to play drums on the Pink Floyd song Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun, and he also played drums on some concerts of Waters' European tour in 2006, and during performances in Los Angeles and New York City in the United States. On May 12, 2007, Mason joined Waters again on stage at Earl's Court to play The Dark Side of the Moon. Again, on May 12, 2011, Mason was featured, along with David Gilmour, on the encore Outside the Wall at a concert by Waters, who was performing The Wall in its entirety. Gilmour also performed on Comfortably Numb that night. In July 2005, Mason, Gilmour, Wright, and Waters played together on stage for the first time in 24 years. A 4-song set was played at the Live 8 concert in London. Mason also joined Gilmour and Wright for the encore during Gilmour's show at the Royal Albert Hall, London, on May 31, 2006, reuniting the post-Waters Pink Floyd. Mason has also claimed to be the link between Gilmour and Waters, and believes the band will play live again, mentioning the possibility of playing again for a charitable cause, or even a tour in various interviews in the last few years. He also stated in 2006 that Pink Floyd have not officially disbanded yet. Unlike the other members of Pink Floyd, Mason has rarely played an instrument other than his drum kit or large array of percussion instruments, although he has contributed sound effects to many Pink Floyd albums. He has only ever played non-percussive instruments on the Grand Vizier's Garden Party, his personal composition from Ummagumma, where he provided some keyboard, guitar and bass noises, and on live versions of Outside the Wall, where he played acoustic guitar along with the rest of the band. However, on the Profiles album Mason released with Rick Fiennes in 1985, he is also credited with keyboards. He can be seen playing a vibraphone in the promo video for Life for a Lie, but it is unknown if he actually played on the recording. Mason has also said that he took some failed piano and violin lessons as a child before taking up drums. Mason has done some work with other people, notably as a drummer and producer for Steve Hillage, Robert Wyatt, The Damned and Gong. He also drummed for Michael Mantler. Nick Mason used Premier drums in the 1960s and occasionally in the 1970s. After that, he used Ludwig drums from 1970 until 1992. He currently uses Drum Workshop drums, pedals and hardware. His kit is a DW double bass kit with the Dark Side of the Moon logo on the drums. He has also used paste cymbals during his entire career with Pink Floyd and currently uses a mixture of paste traditional, signature and 2002 cymbals. He also endorses Remo drumheads, Latin percussion and Pro Mark sticks. Mason's book, Inside Out, A Personal History of Pink Floyd, was published in the UK in October 2004. It is also available, abridged, as a 3-CD audiobook, read by Mason. An updated edition was published, in paperback, in 2011. He performed in the closing ceremony of the 2012 Olympic Games on August 12, 2012. Pink Floyd songs co-written by Mason, Nick's Boogie, Power Talk H. Interstellar Overdrive, A Saucer Full of Secrets, Careful with That Axe, Eugene, Up the Khyber, Party Sequence, Main Theme, Ibiza Bar, More Blues, Quicksilver, Dramatic Theme, The Grand Vizier's Garden Party, Atom Heart Mother, Alan's Psychedelic Breakfast, One of These Days, Seamus, Echoes, When You're In, Speak to Me, Time, Any Color You Like. Drumming style, influenced by jazz and big band music, Nick was a pioneer who embraced acoustic drums, tuned percussion, electronic drums and rototoms, melding all of these into a melodic whole. His snare drum sound shifted from harsh demarcation of beats 2 and 4 to a fatter and gentler timbre, a change that reflected growing studio chops. His style was gentler and more laid-back than other progressive rock drummers of the time. Mason soloed on a few Pink Floyd compositions including Nick's Boogie, A Saucer Full of Secrets, The Grand Vizier's Garden Party, Up the Khyber and Time. Due to the dynamic live performances of Pink Floyd, Mason's style was more energetic and complex live, and can be heard on such albums as Ummagumma and Live at Pompeii. Non-musical ventures, Mason's first marriage was to Lindy Rutter, with whom he had 2 daughters Chloe and Holly. Lindy was also an accomplished woodwind player and she played flute on the Grand Vizier's Garden Party off Ummagumma. The couple divorced in the late 1980s and Mason is married to his second wife, Nettie, most famous for her adjudication role on the second series of Treasure Hunt in 1984. They have 2 sons Kerry and Guy and live in Hampstead, London. However, they often stay in the Wiltshire town of Corsham in the former home of Camilla Parker Bowles. Holly is married to sports car racer Marino Franchitti, the younger brother of multiple IndyCar champion Dario Franchitti. As Pink Floyd's recording and touring schedule grew more sporadic, Mason was left with more time to pursue his favorite hobby, motor racing. He owns and races several classic cars, and has competed successfully at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. His collection has been a subject of his 1998 book, Into the Red, in which he documents his experience with his cars, along with some histories. He is also a qualified pilot, and flies in a Rosparty LAS 350 Squirrel helicopter in specially painted colors. Mason was invited by Ferrari to purchase one of their 400 Enzos, which he let Jeremy Clarkson borrow for reviewing purposes on the BBC motoring programme Top Gear. Mason agreed, on the sole condition that throughout the review, Clarkson promoted the release of the book Inside Out, A Personal History of Pink Floyd. This led to Clarkson using Pink Floyd album titles in his description of the Enzo and the stick driving round the track with another brick in the wall playing. Mason says that his favorite car of all time is the Ferrari 250 GTO, and owns one of the 39 built. His wealth amounts to £55 million, according to the Sunday Times Rich List 2006 €07. Views and advocacy. Mason has played concerts to raise funds for Countryside Alliance. He is a board member and co-chairman of the Featured Artists Coalition. Mason has resided at Middlewick House near Corsham, North Wiltshire, since 1996. Discography, with Pink Floyd. Solo albums, Nick Mason's Fictitious Sports May 3, 1981, with Rick Fiennes, Profiles July 29, 1985. White of the Eye Euro 1987, Tank Mauling Euro 1988, with Michael Mantler, The Hapless Child Euro 1976, Something There Euro 1982, Live Euro 1987, Review Euro 2000, Concertos Euro 2008, as a producer, Principal Edwards Magic Theatre Euro The Osmoto Running Band, Principal Edwards Magic Theatre Euro Round 1, Robert Wyatt A. Euro Rock Bottom, Gong Euro Shamal, The Damned Euro Music for Pleasure, Steve Hillage Euro Green. Co-produced with Steve Hillage. Mason also plays a drum on Ley Lines to Glaston, Books, Into the Red, 22 classic cars that shaped a century of motorsport Euro September 3, 1998, September 9, 2004, Inside Out, A Personal History of Pink Floyd Euro October 28, 2004, References. External links, Nick Mason's Drum World Profile, Nick Mason Interviews, 10/10 Official Site, Inside Out book page from Pink Floyd official site, Pink Floyd Drums, The Division Bell Tour Drums,